Presented by ICICI Lombard Health Insurance.
सही एसआईपी पोर्टफोलियो बनाने के लिए म्यूचुअल फंड चुनने में प्रॉब्लम हो तो उसे कहते हैं
हिचकिच।
वही पोर्टफोलियो एक्सपर्ट्स इंस्टेंटली बना दें तो
जिप।
एक क्लिक में कस्टमाइज्ड म्यूचुअल फंड पोर्टफोलियो पाओ। अब सिप नहीं जिप करो at myuniverse.co.in from Aditya Birla Money.
Project Management Institute presents PMI India Project Management National Conference 2015, hosted by PMI Bangalore, India Chapter.
While on the topic of project management, the country's biggest project in recent times, unifying the ID system for over 1 billion countrymen, was championed by him. Nandan Nilekani speaks about the architecture of scale that was the UIDAI project.
The challenge was very simple: how to give 1 billion people a unique ID. It is a one-line sort of objective. But as you start digging into that, you have to think through how do you actually make that happen. And we spent a lot of time in conceptualizing the strategy, the program management and project management to make it happen. So managing in a public environment has more complexity because number one, there is no common definition of success, and number two, there are a lot more stakeholders pulling in different directions. Now, one of the things we decided to do was we said, let's design this in a way that we keep the solution as simple as possible. Now, why is this important? Why is it important to keep the solution simple? Solution has to be kept simple because, number one, if you have a simple solution, then it's simpler to implement. If you have a simple solution, which then has less people opposing it. Therefore, simplicity and minimalism is a very important part of a project in a public system. At the same time, you also want simplicity and minimalism because that will allow you to scale faster. It will allow you to do it faster. And getting scale and momentum is very important because once you have scale and momentum, then it's very difficult to unravel it because it's already implemented and on the ground. Having said that, then you may say, if you keep it simple, how will you solve the problem? Because the idea is finally we have to solve a problem, not just keep it simple. And the way we thought about this was, we thought of doing this with a layered architecture. In other words, solve the simple problem first, but design it in a way that it has layers of complexity or layers of sophistication above it, so that over time, it solves a lot more problems. So we said, let's solve the ID problem first. And then using that ID, let's offer authentication services, which means that I can go somewhere, I go to the airport, I say I'm X, I'm able to verify that I'm X, or I go to withdraw money from an ATM, I can verify that I'm the person, and so on. On top of that, we offered something called eKYC, which is Electronic Know Your Customer, which says that you go somewhere, for example, you go to a bank to open a bank account, you authenticate yourself at the bank using an online device, and then you authorize the UID to release your KYC details, which is your name and address, to the bank, and then the bank opens your bank account for you. Now, there have been two more layers added to this. One is called e-sign, which allows you to use your Aadhaar number to sign a digital certificate. And then, using another architecture which has been designed on top of this, called digital lockers, you can design an ecosystem of repositories where documents can be issued and stored, and documents can be retrieved by the user.
Speaking next was Arjuna Award recipient Deepa Malik, whose fight against the odds is nothing short of inspirational. Despite being paralyzed chest down, Deepa has fought against all odds to achieve great heights and set an example for all in the field of para-athletics.
I think the biggest challenge that I face in my country is infrastructural, let's face a fact. And the second challenge is definitely sensitization towards people with different challenges. Not very many people step out. It's become a vicious circle. Because there are no ramps, so people with wheelchair will not come out. Whereas I say that the more of us are seen out, will create the necessity and the need for them to actually create the ramps. So I guess each one of us, if we look around and take it upon ourselves to take some initiatives and take 1 square kilometer each and put your contribution and your hard work to it, I think we can make a difference. Each one of us can contribute and make a difference. Every day I get up and tell the Almighty, I said, let the tumor wait. I have so much more to do. For now, the biggest target is the World Championship. I hope I make it to it. Hopefully that's my step towards Rio Olympics. So that's the target for now. I want to get the tattoo done on my hand. I want to get those 5 Olympic rings. And of course, we're working very hard with Wheeling Happiness Initiative. We're trying to make difference in a lot of people's minds and lives, encouraging them in the little initiative that we are doing. I will continue to spread awareness and I'll continue to create more records.
The conference also saw speakers from the field of science and human resources discuss and deliberate the need for redefining India and the self.
When you look at a problem of the volume of digital India, where NKN was the early entrant, the volume and the correctness that you have to ensure about this volume that you are handling, the consistency that is expected, the reliability that is expected, they were very dominant factors, and in some sense, they were really very difficult to fathom, quantify, and manage when you do a actual design of a system by yourself. Then of course, once you assume that you have rolled it out and people are using it, the security aspect of it and safety, which is big brother of security, that becomes important. When you've done all that, people will say, how are you going to manage it? How are you going to sustain it? Because by the time project period will be over. So they'll know, the next generation will not know what you have done. So how do you institutionalize the knowledge that you have generated? How you automate the entire system? These things become challenges.
One important thing always is this. Everything happens provided we know clearly what kind of talent we bring on the table. More precisely, what kind of leaders we bring to the company. The leadership's dimension is to build a belief in the people that we can build a great India. There has to be a belief that we can make it to happen during our lifetime. What I wanted to deal with is this. When I recruit people, what do I look at in the people? What do I look at in the leaders? There are 4 qualities I look in the people. First, care and concern for people. A leader needs to have a care and concern for people. Second, which matters a lot, is the energy level. Third thing, which is important in the leader, is the judgment, the quality of judgment. You can give a same facts and data in front of 4 people. Everybody can take a different decision. Their judgment call can be different. But there are good quality leaders who make a great judgment call, and then they will ensure that they make it to happen. The fourth one, which is an optional item, a sense of humor.
We are today in the cusp of the Industry Revolution 4.0. Industry Revolution 4.0, where you'll see more amount of miniaturization, more amount of speed of technology, and most importantly, connectivity. To give you a flavor of connectivity, when there was fixed line connectivity in the world, that's basically we had landlines. Approximately about 900 million people were connected. When the smartphones came into existence, and we all started getting access to smartphones, especially in the developing world, we started moving to a number which was close to 2 billion connections. But current predictions are by 2020, with other devices also being connected, you would find there would be as many as 20 billion people / devices that will be connected together. That's the type of revolution that's happening.
Redefinition is not necessarily an action to change, but it's an evaluation. It's an introspection to say, do I have an opportunity to change? And then you have the decision to make a change or not. You must look at all of the influencing factors, external, internal, outside. It cannot be just viewed in a silo mentality of a tactical execution. Yes, I want to redefine in a straight line. So I think redefinition is always there. We've used terms around process improvement to call it redefinition. We've used terms around process improvement, process excellence. So that concept has already been there. But if you don't redefine, I think the more important question perhaps is if you don't redefine, you're staying static. The external system is continuing to move forward, and so the gap between you increases exponentially. So not only are you keeping pace or trying to keep pace, you're staying static. You're not even taking the opportunity to evaluate change, and the external factors and the external environment continues to progress. The concept of redefining India, yes, but who is India? India is the individuals that comprise India, just as an organization is comprised with individuals who make up the culture. So the change can be in small steps, but the change must come from the self, which fuels the energy for the bigger change, which fuels the energy for the change in India.
Project Management Institute presents PMI India, Project Management National Conference 2015, hosted by PMI Bangalore, India Chapter.
The most powerful car in its class now guarantees you peace of mind too. The Chevrolet Cruze, now with zero maintenance cost for up to 3 years, starts at 14.25 lakhs only.
Chevrolet, find new roads.
Are you looking for blue chip investments? Ones that have a proven track record and given better returns? Choose to invest in ICICI Prudential Focused Blue Chip Equity Fund. It mainly invests your money in blue chip companies that have good growth potential. So if you're looking for long-term investments, aim to benefit by investing in ICICI Prudential Focused Blue Chip Equity Fund. To know more, consult your financial advisor or log on to ICICIPruMF.com. ICICI Prudential